Now me be the only bride when my madam don't married. You
Are you
know?
ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. NK Chami here. So guys, we're going to learn how to switch a bridal glam, and yeah, this particular makeup tutorial is actually on our page. So we're just going to learn how to switch bridal glams. Okay, that's actually the aim of this particular tutorial: how to switch bridal glam. Let's say you worked on a bride for her first outing, or let's say that she went to church and now you have to switch to the traditional setting, and that's what we're going to learn today: how to switch from a bridal glam to a traditional setting kind of makeover. Okay, now first thing guys you need to know is when you're working on a makeover that has to do with the glitters, you have to set the face first, okay, before you have to take out the glitter, because you don't want it to sit on the skin work you've done. My bad, you should also have an apron over your bride, okay, very important, so called the fallout, so it doesn't really stick on her body. But then a very important thing you should note is always ensure that you have excess powder, loose powder, setting powder on the face, just so that the glitters or the fallout would not sit on the skin and remain there. It will be a problem for you. Okay, so I love to use a spoolie, or most people call it mascara brush. Okay, I love to use a spoolie to take out the glitters. It's actually very easier and faster than using wipes. Let me take this a little bit closer. Sorry. Now, the spoolie makes it way easier to take out glitters from the face. So as you can see the way it is, it took it very easy and it was actually very fast. Okay. So after taking out your you're sure that everything is properly out, then you can go ahead to continue to switch the glam. Okay, so right here I'm actually going to dust out the fallout, and also dust out the setting powder as well. But if you are someone that can work with, you can actually leave the setting powder, but I actually want to dust out the fallout to prevent any unnecessary mistakes. So I had to dust out the fallout first before continuing the eyeshadow process. Okay, now we obviously want to ensure that we have a very sticky and a lovely base. So we're going to be using an eyeshadow primer to ensure that the base is actually okay for you to work with. Okay. Now using an eyeshadow primer to cover the part at which we removed our glitters from, and then we're going to blend to ensure that that part is actually very okay for a new eyeshadow application. Also take note guys, as you apply your eyeshadow primer, please, we're not working on a cut crease tutorial, so obviously we don't need sharp edges, so you'll have to work and blend out the edges. So I'm going to use a dark shade as well, actually using powder right here to blend out the edges. Like I really don't want it to have a sharp edge, so I'm just going to blend out the edges using the powder, as you can see from my powder palette, just to give it that lovely defined finish. Okay, so you just blend in and ensure that everything smooths in together and comes out looking lovely. So carefully blend in, but take note, just try to ensure that your base is spread, like you really don't want to cover the base, because that's where you want to apply most product on. So for the base, because you're working on a traditional wedding setting, I want to use more or less a gold kind of effect. I'm going to define the edge and work with yellow. Yeah. So take note, if you're working with any shade that involves glitters or shimmer, I personally prefer that you work with that kind of shade on using matte. Let's say I'm using gold right now. I'm going to work with a shade that's similar to gold, that is yellow, and make sure that the base itself is having a yellow background, so that the color you use for your glitter will reflect properly well. Not like you want to use gold and you're using red base. Get the point? Okay. So I just went ahead to define the edge using a dark red, just to ensure that that ending look a little bit more traditional. Okay. Mind you, it's a traditional wedding setting, so we have to be somehow kind of loud. So you go over the crease line and go over the wing line with a dark red. Now I'm using that yellow part. This is the point I'm trying to explain to you guys. When you're working on a particular shade for your base, you use a shade that is very, very much closer to the shade that you're using for glitters. If I'm going to use silver, I prefer to use a white shade to as my base so that when I apply my silver, it will reflect very well, okay? Then when I'm working on blue shade for my glitters or my shimmer, I love to use a blue base first so that when the glitter is being applied, it reflects properly well or very well, okay? So since I'm working, I intend to use a very lovely and a very pronounced gold pigment. I try to use more or less a yellowish shade for my background, okay? So just tap tap tap. Please take note, you don't really blend when you're working on base because you really want it to, remain there. So I'm just going to tap 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 that yellowish shade on the base, and then go ahead to use the dark red, more like us blood, yeah, just to blend, ensure that it has a very, very pronounced effect, because yeah, that is the aim of the whole thing. You have to make it look kind of pronounced because it's a traditional wedding, for crying out loud. So before going ahead to work on your glitter, let's work on the down part of your eyeshadow. So we're going to use the same um shade that we use, the dark red, or should I say us blood shade, for the down part of your eyeshadow base, okay? So you're just going to use that to give it that warm look as well. So you're just going to blend that in to so that the down part looks a little bit lovely, and then we'll continue to do our liner. So for our line, I'm using Carat Gel Liner, the black shade, and I'm trying to have this lovely cat eyes effect. As you can see, I'm just trying to bring out the one I made before, because yeah, it's actually a makeup switch, not like I'm starting afresh, right? So actually had that on her before, so just to make it more pronounced. So I'm using gel liner, a black gel liner from Carat Cosmetics also, and using that to have to work on my eyeliner. So take note, guys, if you know you are not very, very good with um gel liner, you can actually use a pencil liner because it's somehow much easier to work with, I guess. But if you are actually good with gel liner, yeah, it's actually very fine because it doesn't really smear and it's actually easy to work with as well. Now for fixing of our lashes, you just go ahead to fix and to replace the lash that we actually removed. Obviously we were doing a makeup switch, so I love these lashes because it actually have that curvy um texture, if I'm to say texture, but I love the way it is. It's giving me that um Odogu wife kind of vibe, kind of lashes. So I love the way it is. My muse is a talkative, like a big time talkative. So just leave her first. Let me let me leave her one side. So if you're done with your lashes, go ahead to continue the work we are working on, okay? So mind you, because we are working on a switch, obviously you're going to switch the lips, yes guys, down to the lips. So first thing you're going to do is to, kind of get out the nude lip, because right here we are ready to slay. So you're ready to slay, you're ready to, scatter and rearrange, okay? So carefully use a micellar water or your wipes or a cotton pad to clean the lips stain we had before, and I'm going to moisturize the lips using a lovely matte and non-sticky lip gloss. So because we want it to be traditional, we're going with red, guys. It's red or nothing. I'm going to go with a very, very loud red. Like, when you're working on a light skinned person, red always sits well with a light skinned person. And I really wanted it to come out looking, gang gang. Okay. So I'm using that shade. This very, very pepper prepare them kind of red. So we're going to blend that all over, just to ensure that it sits properly well on the lips, and we're going to go ahead to define the edge of the lips as well. Mind you, I know it kind of look lovely this way, but when you define the edge of the lips using a darker shade, I feel like you will love it more. So you can usually use a dark brown shade or go in with dark purple, I'm using dark purple for this particular tutorial. Okay, I kind of love the way it comes out, so I use dark purple to define the edge of the lips, and we blend that into fitting. So I'm carefully going over the line we made before. I don't really want it to, go over um the edges that was defined previously on our previous makeup. So carefully go over that line just to ensure that the lip doesn't go or doesn't become too big, because at first it was ombre. So if you go out too much, it's going to be so big, and I don't really want that to look that way. So if it's too big, you have to start concealing, and I don't really want to conceal the lips. So carefully go over the exact same line that was made before while defining the lips in the previous makeup. Okay, so I really don't want the dark shade to be more, so I actually made the lining very very tiny. I really want the red to be more pronounced than the dark purple that I used. Okay, I just want the purple to be a little bit on that line, then I blend it in to fit. Okay, but I don't really want it to be that pronounced, as you can see in this particular video. So you blend and you blend, allow everything sit well, and then I'm really loving this look, guys. I don't know about you, but me, it's already giving, like it's giving me what it's supposed to give. Like I seriously don't know, guys. There's this thing about me and lips combination. Like I really can't just sit still until I blend my hand out. Like I just had to go over and over to ensure that yeah, it is perfect to my scene. Like I had to see that this thing is very good, and well, I don't know about you guys, but that is just me. And if it's not perfect, it's not me. So I actually went over to use a cheek glaze. I'm using a light red shade for the cheek, and I'm going to apply much, guys. I don't play with my blush, okay? And I want it to be pronounced. This is a traditional wedding setting, okay? It must not be much, okay? Don't say okay. Nke Chami said it has to be much. It's your preference, okay? It depends on what your client wants. If you want it to be very mild, give her mild, okay? So since I want to create a look that is very very out there, I wanted it to be, sharp and pronounced, okay? Now for my blush, I'm using Huda Beauty bronzer palette. Sorry, not blush. Huda Beauty bronzer palette, and I'm using the very light shade. I think it's they call it matte or something. So that's what I'm using for my bronzer, and I love the effect. I love the how pigmented it is. Like just a little of that can cover a long part of the face, and it's very 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 so illuminating. Like just a little part of it illuminates a lot. So I love the effect. Now guys, back to our eyeshadow. Am I telling you that I'm actually working on a very sharp gold effect, right? So this is actually the gold effect. It's a gold pigment that comes out looking so very very gold. Yes guys, it's I love the effect of the gold pigment. So as you can see here, it's just sits very well on the face. Just gonna use that, tap tap tap, press 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 on the base, and if it comes out well, I know you guys will love it. Ignore my muse, or should I say my students, because she always sleep on duty. So just ignore her, please. I know she's tired. We had to do several tutorials while she's sitting, and just see guys, just see. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Like the gold is giving, everything is just giving, and of course I really learning something about this makeup, right? Like the switch is so switching. That's a word I don't really know, but just me guys, I love the way it's coming. Just going ahead to blend everything so that everything sits well together, everything falling together, and well, voila. Now time for my liner. I told you guys I love using pencil liner, right? Yeah. So I'm using a pencil liner just to ensure that everything is perfect. I love it because it's faster, more reliable, and easy for me. For me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's faster. It dries like as fast as flash. and it's easier to work with compared to um, gel liner. So I love using my gel liner for the under part of the eyes, and then use my pencil liner for the upper part of the eyelid. So guys, if you're with us at this very moment, I really hope you guys are really learning something. And just like every other student or every other day that we had that tutorial, I always say if you have a look that you want us to create or you want us to have as our next tutorial on this page, please drop it on the comment section and we'll be sure to recreate the look for you. So since someone asked for a an Igbo bride tutorial. This is what we have here. We had so many Igbo bride tutorial on our page, but she asked for how to switch bridal glam, and this is how we are switching our bridal glam here. So if you are also a return subscriber, thank you guys for sitting still, for not neglecting this page. And if you're a first timer, do well to click on the subscribe button, guys. It's very important. So I'm actually sealing everything up with this fixed spray, and then I went over again using a seal it spray, and this is the final look, guys. Like, just tell me, don't you love it? I do. See you guys in my next video. Bye.